Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bladensburg Town Council meeting for Monday, January 13th, 2025. Thank you to everyone joining us here tonight, as well as those who are watching virtually. The meeting is now called to order. At this time, I'll ask Councilmember McBride to give the opening prayer, please.
Good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. Gracious Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the new year 2025. We thank you for the expectations and the new adventures that will offer unto the town of Bladensburg. We ask you to bless those that are on Zoom or Facebook and those that are here. We ask you to even bless those that were unable to assemble. We ask you to keep us, help us to make wise decisions. Keep on doing what we need to do for the great town of Bladensburg. We ask you to bless us all together lovely. In your name we pray and ask these blessings. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilmember McBride. And now for those that are able to stand, we ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I haven't seen you since last year, so nice to see everyone back. Hope you all had safe holidays and just some time to refresh and rejuvenate with your loved ones. At this time, we'll continue on moving down the agenda and proceed with the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Are there any corrections or edits to the agenda for tonight? Hearing none.
I think we'll add WSSC to it.
Again, or
Um,
we did it
because it's been
earlier
lifted.
at the work session, but we can.
Okay.
So following PEPCO, we'll add item H, WSSC update. Any other corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Now we're very pleased to proceed to the next item on our agenda, which are special presentations. And so at this time, Chief, we'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, community, and colleagues. This is the time of my job that I take pride and honor when we have the opportunity to recognize and advance our officers for the hard work that they do. Each and every day that they come up and show up for work. I'm sure many of you have seen the news, may have heard the news today, but early this morning, 4:30 this morning, 3 Metropolitan police officers were shot by a suspect in the line of duty. This just adds credence to the fact that our officers show up each and every day to work a job that they don't know at the end of the day whether or not they're going home or not. So we have a chance to recognize the hard work that our men and women do at the Bladensburg Police Department. I'm honored when it's time to promote them for the hard work that they do and the diligence that they put forth each and every day to provide the best service to our community. So with that being said, thank you. I want to recognize also our command staff for the hard work they do and the leadership that they provide. Our public information officer, my chief of staff, our dispatchers, those on the front line, those behind. We couldn't do our job without 3 things that we need to have the trust of the mayor and council, we need to have the trust of the men and women, and we need to have your trust in our community for us to be successful. And thank you so much for your support. Detail. Ready? Post. if we could have the mayor come down and administer the officer oath to these officers, who will be getting promoted from police officer to police officer first class.
If everyone could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. And since we're promoting everyone to the same rank, after I say "I," we'll start with Officer Threlfell and just have you go down the line and please state your name, and then we'll continue with the oath. So I, please state your name. Having been duly appointed to private first class, effective December 29th, 2024, for the town of Bladensburg, do solemnly affirm that I will bear true allegiance to the United States of America, the state of Maryland, and the town of Bladensburg, that I will support the charter and laws of Prince George's County and the town of Bladensburg, and that I will obey the orders of the governor and the officers appointed over me according to the rules and regulations of the Bladensburg Police Department. I will, to the best of my skill, judgment, and ability, with diligence and faith, and without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of private first class for the town of Bladensburg, Maryland. Congratulations. Let's give them a round of applause. So for those who hear the little one in the background, that is officially our youngest police officer, who was also responding to the oath. So let's give the baby a round of applause.
So if I can have command staff, we do have two personal requests, but we want to expedite this because this is a live council meeting. So Officer Machado, his wife, Thurfall, and who else? Huh? Oh, they added an extra. So if we can have the family members stand up at this time and come forward. You need me to hold little Pachado?
Wow, that was fast. Thanks, Chief. So, would the council like to extend any words to the newly promoted officers?
I would like to say congratulations to you all, and we also thank you and your families, you know, for you all coming and serving and protecting us residents. Because as I always say, one thing's for sure is that the council, we must live in the town of Bladensburg as we serve on the council. So we really do appreciate you all serving and protecting us. So once again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Dixon?
I just want to say congratulations. Thank you for your hard work, and know that we're always praying for you guys, because we know the job is not easy. And we thank your family for entrusting you to the town to, you know, just here to protect us and serve us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dixon. Councilmember Blunt?
Congratulations. And if you are ever coming to any of the senior buildings, forgive them. They do love you.
They get a little wild when they see men in uniform, I guess. Councilmember McBride?
You took the words right out of my mouth. But congratulations, everyone. And yes, we do depend on you. I know I do. I thank you for your service. I thank you for your family's sacrifice and what you do each and every day. I continue to keep you in my prayers because I know your job is not always easy and your decisions are not always easy, but you must make wise decisions. Thank you.
Hard to follow that. So last, and probably least, I want to congratulate you, as I said before, but also thank you, because it is clear that everyone standing before us today serves from your heart. You don't just treat this like it's a regular job and come here without giving your best. And so when I roll up on you in the neighborhood and stop, you're always polite, pleasant. Just watching your interactions with our residents, always being respectful, is truly appreciated. It can feel like a thankless job, and I know you don't get to see the council very often because most of us have daytime jobs, but please don't let that make you think that we are not concerned, that we're not praying for you and your families. Again, thank you so much for all your hard work, and we look forward to more promotions in the future. So with that, we'll let you go. Thank you. Give them a minute. All right. Thank you for those watching in the room and online. We just wanted to give the officers a few minutes to file out before continuing on with tonight's meeting. Next on our agenda, we're so pleased to have Ms. Renee Green, who heads up our Patriotic Committee. So we will turn the program over to Ms. Renee Green.
So good evening, Mayor, council members, and Town of Bladensburg, and once again, Happy New Year to everyone. The Peace Cross will turn 100 years old this July 2025. So we will be planning an event for it, and if anyone is interested in being a part of the planning, please contact Ray Jeffries here at the Town Hall. And the Boy Scouts, they are finishing up. They only have $250 more towards the memorial, the Pearl Harbor Memorial. And I know that they're going to be getting that real soon, so that's going to be all taken care of. But donations, if anyone wants to add, donations could be made, checks could be made payable to the Troop 257, Cheverly, Maryland. and they can go to Ethan Mendoza at 492956 Place, Bladensburg, Maryland 20710, or you can drop it off here at the town hall. Hopefully, we will have dedication for the Pearl Harbor Memorial on Memorial Day. Okay, so that finishes if anyone has any questions.
Thank you for those updates. Are there any questions from the council for Ms. Green? Sure, Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Renee, I just want to thank you for the hard work that you're doing, always providing such clarity on the event, and we do appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, I do too. Enjoy it.
Yes, we absolutely appreciate, because this is a volunteer opportunity, so you do this from the heart, and it is very much appreciated. We can't wait to celebrate the 100 years of the Peace Cross
Isn't that
and
amazing?
the Pearl Harbor Memorial, so we can upgrade it from the little plaque that we have there now. But again, thank you. And again, to those who are watching, if you want to contribute to the Pearl Harbor Memorial, just drop a donation off at the town hall here at 4229 Edmonston Road, and we'll make sure we get that over to Ethan, who's part of the Boy Scouts troop. We can do that.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So next on our agenda for item 6 is the approval of minutes. The first set of minutes to approve are the December 9th, 2024 council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Were there any corrections or comments for the record regarding the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. And next, we'll approve the council public hearing minutes for December 19th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any corrections or comments regarding the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. And that completes all the items on section number 6. Now we'll proceed to item number 7 for public comments, and we'll turn it over to Madam Clerk Watson.
We have Miss Resident Susan Miss McCutcheon here.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor and Council, everyone watching. I live at 5404 Spring Road. I wanted to follow up on the discussion in the work session regarding the bills that we have to watch for coming up in the General Assembly. And I was glad to hear that 2 were not mentioned, but that's because, dealing with the maglev issue, but that's because Bladensburg remains in strong opposition, and so does the Maryland Municipal League, so you get a star. So, at any rate, I wanted to mention that Mr. Perez mentioned that we need to reach out on the maglev, reach out to the candidates, the county executive candidates, and I would also add then District 5, and in fact, the Maryland Coalition for Responsible Transit, we reached out in December and are following up with the county executive candidates for their position on the maglev, and also I personally have for the District 5, Prince George's County Council. I'll point out, you can sign up to find out about bills at MYMGA, which is Maryland General Assembly, and you can also look at legislation at MYMGA-LEG, which is for legislation. So sign up, and then you can get a notice about what's happening with the bills when there are hearings or that kind of thing. But I will point out there is the cross-file bill, will soon be cross-filed. The House hasn't yet, Delegate Williams, but it's the Senate bill, State Finance Prohibited Appropriations Magnetic Levitation Transportation System Bill, which is put forth by by Senator Washington, Augustine, and Beidel, who have been very strong opposed to the maglev. That is filed, and there will be a cross-filed bill by Delegate Williams. That's the one that's been the past few years that it's a private company. They said we don't need money from the state, and what this bill says is, okay, we're not going to give you money from the state, basically. And then they object to it every year and say, yeah, but we might run out of money, and we might need money from the state. So at any rate, it hasn't gotten out of committee the last few years. And the other bill is a new one, House Bill 48, Railroad Companies Condemnation Authority application. It's by Delegate Healy, Martinez, and Delegate Williams. And basically what they're saying in that bill is questioning eminent domain being used by the maglev project to try to take properties. So that is a bill and it will, on January 30th at 1 p.m. is the first hearing for it. So again, that is about eminent domain and questioning railroad companies, magnetic levitation, superconducting magnetic levitation train project being able to use eminent domain. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. And just one tiny correction was, in the work session, I mentioned PGCMA's policy committee discussed it this morning. I don't want to get in trouble for putting words in MML's mouth. So in case anyone's watching from there, PGCMA, the policy committee did agree that we want to continue to push this forward to the board and the body at large as a legislative priority. And so I believe the next meeting is Thursday evening to continue that process. But no worries, no worries. Madam Clerk, could you please call the next resident?
We have Mr. Steve White.
Yeah, I'm Steve Weitz, and I live on Tilden Road. I want to thank Town Administrator Michelle Bailey for not giving up and contacting Pepco to get our streetlight repaired. May 1st, I sent an email to Public Works Purnell, and he promptly reported it to Pepco, and they gave a work order number. Months later, I checked with Purnell, and month after month, I checked with Roger and Purnell, Chief Collington, council members, and Michelle and town staff kept contacting Pepco, and several neighbors called, and they said, yeah, we see the work order, but nothing was done for 8 months. And fortunately, Michelle Bailey finally convinced them to fix it. So I appreciate that. Not yet. So they said within a week. But many years ago, I had a gas leak in my driveway, and the neighbors across the street were complaining, smell of gas. They'd come out and fix it. You hear the hissing noise, and they'd sit in the truck all day and take readings, and it took them like 3 years to finally replace the gas line on our street. And so my daughter moved up to Damascus. Her house was empty. Electric line fell down in the yard. I called Pepco, and I went back the next day. Nothing happened. Five days, they finally came out and fixed it. Looking back, I should have called the police to rope the yard off. Maybe they could have convinced them to fix it. But I'm thinking, I call the town because, I think they have better connections. But I appreciate, them not giving up on that. And also I want to thank Purnell and Public Works for removing the snow. I hear that some areas in PG County still aren't plowed. So Public Works always does a good job, and I appreciate it. And also thank Public Works for their leaf vacuum service. They do a great job. Thank you.
That's the end of public comments, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Watson. So we will continue on through the agenda to item number 8, unfinished business. And tonight we have ordinance 09-2025, which we're super excited about after hearing the presentation in the work session. So Madam Clerk, we will turn it over to you for the second reading.
An ordinance of the Council of the Town of Bladensburg establishing a framework for the proper care, maintenance, and management of public trees within the Town of Bladensburg. Whereas the Town of Bladensburg has resolved to become a member of Tree City USA, and part of the membership is a commitment to proper care, maintenance of trees, and whereas the mayor and council are supportive of green endeavors and have been certified by Sustainability Maryland, as part of this certification requires the expansion and the adoption of new green policies and initiatives. And whereas the mayor and council have adopted Resolution 08-2025, in which the council consents to join Tree City USA, and whereas the town has engaged with Neighborhood Design Center to conduct a tree assessment, which is also a requirement for the Tree City USA designation. And Section 1, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish a framework for proper care, maintenance, management of public trees within the town of Bladensburg. This ordinance aims to ensure the health and longevity of the town's urban forests, enhance public safety, and promote environmental sustainability. Section 2, authority. The town and public works manages and cares for public trees. The town and community partners will plant, maintain, prune, and remove trees on streets, in parks, and other public spaces within the town of Bladensburg. The town shall also enforce the provisions of this ordinance and ensure compliance with applicable standards and guidelines. Section 3, public tree care, talks about 1, planting of public trees, 2, the maintenance of public trees, 3, the removal of the trees, 4, Section 4, the community involvement. The town encourages active community participation in caring for public trees, educational programs, volunteer tree planting events. Partnerships with environmental organizations shall be promoted to engage residents in the stewardship of town urban forests. Section 5, penalties and enforcement. An authorized planting, pruning, and removal of public trees shall be subject to penalties as outlined in the town's enforcement guidelines. The DPW is empowered to enforce these ordinances and take necessary actions to protect public trees. Section 6, effective date, and be further ordained that this ordinance shall be effective within 20 days of its passage, and be further enacted and ordained that upon passage, the ordinance shall be authenticated by the signature of the mayor and the town clerk, and shall be recorded in the book kept for this purpose. In addition, the ordinance shall be published by posting a certified copy of it in Town Hall for 10 days following its adoption. Article 2, Section 209 of the Charter of the Town of Bladensburg, Maryland, effective 13th day of January 2025.
Thank you so much for the second reading of the ordinance. And so with that, council, is there a motion to approve and adopt ordinance 09-2025? Moved by Councilmember Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions regarding the ordinance? All right. Yeah, I agree. It is amazing that we're moving forward in this direction. So again, thank you to the staff and to our partners for making this possible. I'll now call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Next, we'll move into financial business. Item A is for FY 2026 budget overview, so we'll turn it over to Mr. Tonelli.
Evening, Mayor and Council, and the public. I touched on the financial update in the work session. This is going to be a little bit more abbreviated for time constraints. Before I do that, the people that are watching, I'd like to request them rewind about 20 minutes ago to hear Ms. Renee Green's presentation to raise funds for Ethan Mendoza, the send funds there. I think Ethan has sat through quite a few town meetings here, so he knows our operations, and he would really appreciate it, and the town would appreciate it too. So, but anyway, rewind back 20 minutes and hear where to send those funds to, please. Well, my time to start now. So the financial report is through December, 6 months through December, halfway through our fiscal year. We are pretty much on target for revenues. We're just under, though, at 43% of the revenues received. And that is because we have a couple of large items on there for the federal earmark for $1.2 million, which we have not received any funds for yet, and also for the bond bill, which we have not invoiced for the ongoing work that we're doing at Bostwick. Speed camera, the automated traffic enforcement is down below budget because we have some contractual issues with the vendor and with the equipment operation that we hope gets recouped by them in terms of reimbursement to the town. And we've had some grant activity. We had significant grant activity thanks to Michelle, our town administrator, for CDBG and also our community legacy projects for the lighting projects, bridge repairs, and road repairs. So revenues, what's dragging it down, that 43% is because, you know, we had those big items in there for the federal bond bill and state bond, for the federal earmark and state bond bill, and also another portion there that is for the red light cameras that are not going to be online until the spring, but that's what we budgeted for. Even though it's a full year budget, we knew that it wasn't going to be collected for a full year. On to expenses. The overall, and this is by department, and there's full detail of my financial report in the meeting packet online and everything. So this is just a summary of the key points. So the financials are done by department. Mayor and council, I could say, is our smallest department. They're pretty much on budget. The general expenses were over because of the community events, because we're very community event heavy in the first half of the fiscal year. And we also front load some expenses such as our memberships to MML, National League of Cities, and the Mayor's Association. All those are paid in July, but they're budgeted for a full year. Our smaller departments, which are the town administrator, town clerk, and finance, which I call like the West Wing of Town Hall over here. It's really only about 5 employees, but it's split up into 3 departments. So the West Wing is just below budget. They're at 48%. But again, we're 6 months into the year. That looks good. The public safety and traffic enforcement, right on budget, 50%. And those two are split because public safety is funded through the general fund, and the traffic enforcement is funded through speed camera funds and through the red light camera funds. But the expenses are all public safety. So that's why I have those combined there. And Public Works, scroll down to there, to the very bottom there in that orange, they're on budget at 50%. And our total expenses are at 45% of budget. And we're just under a small deficit there, but that's mainly because of timing reasons, because we have money out in the street that we have not been billed or reimbursed for the bond bill projects, for CDBG work, and for the earmark. So there's, and also for monies due us from the speed camera fund. So that's it through the first 6 months of the year. If anybody has any questions.
So one thing you did mention in the work session, I just wanted to point out, is we did get another tranche of funding, tax payments in December, and you mentioned, so the variance, we're actually up to like 97% on, was it the real property?
Yeah, that top line there, the real property tax, that is our largest revenue item. You see it, that's 82% collected. It's now, as of today, as of Friday, is 97% collected. And that's because all those payments go to the county, and then the county remits those to us. But that could go 2 or 3 percentage points above budget because of updated assessments for construction in progress. But there's also a risk that people appeal and it could go down. So it's, but I'm hoping for 1 or 2 points higher.
That's helpful. And then one other question is on the code enforcement side, Chief, is it the spring where Officer Reinhardt goes out to collect the fees associated with the business licenses and all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
So
That's
revenue
like May.
in May, so
Yeah.
it'll hit right before we're getting ready to close out.
That's why there's that big gap there. You don't see like that 8,000 collected until really in June, because they go out in May, and then they start all walking in on June 1st
I
and
see.
paying June 1st to have that July 1 license.
But it's not a big lag, it's just a couple weeks from the time
Yeah.
that they start. Okay, got it, thank you. Any other questions from the council or comments? Okay. Zoom does not want you to stop sharing, I guess. It's giving you a hard time. All right, so continuing on to new business, we're now at Resolution 13-2025 to change the town's resident agent to our clerk, Ms. Regine Watson. So, Ms. Watson, I'll turn it over to you to read the resolution into the record.
A resolution of the Town Council of Bladensburg, Maryland, declaring Regine Watson as the Town of Bladensburg resident agent, replacing the previous resident agent in accordance with Maryland law. Whereas in accordance with the Maryland law, the Town of Bladensburg, Maryland, is required to designate a resident agent for the town. And whereas the town previously designated Patricia McCauley as the resident agent for the town, who served in the capacity for 19 years before her retirement in 2021. And whereas the town appointed Regine Watson as clerk on September 9, 2024 for the town of Bladensburg and has assumed the responsibilities of this office, and whereas in order to comply with the Maryland law and ensure proper administration, the town council desires to designate Regine Watson as the new resident agent for the town. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of Bladensburg, Maryland, as follows. Designation of resident agent. The town of Bladensburg, Maryland hereby designates Regine Watson as the town's resident agent, effective immediately. 2, filing with the Maryland Department of Assessment and Taxation. The town clerk is directed to file the necessary documentation with the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation to formally update the town's resident agent designation to Regine Watson. Be it further resolved that this is the resolution B and is hereby adopted the 13th day of January 2025 and shall take effective immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. So with that, is there a motion to adopt resolution number 13-2025?
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second? Seconded, seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. The resolution is approved. Next, we'll move down to item B, and just for those who missed the work session, the council did agree to hold on formally proceeding with the appointments until the February meeting. The idea is we've only gotten 2 names so far, and we'd rather see the whole list of people who are up for consideration so we can consider those names and moving them forth with appointments in totality at one time versus doing it piecemeal. So you will see this back on the agenda for the February meeting. And then with respect to appointments of Ethics Commission members, Madam Clerk, I know you had a recommendation which the council approved in the work session, if you want to provide an update there.
Yes, Mayor. I was asking the council to make a motion to allow me to interview the new appointees to this Ethics Commission. As we know, everybody on this that has asked to be put on this commission is new, and because of that, I would like us, just to make sure and check everybody out. And if the council is okay with it, I would like to interview them before bringing it back to the council and presenting everybody to you.
Yeah, then there was definite agreement, unanimous agreement from the council in the work session on that request. Did you require a formal vote from the council, or is consensus enough for you to move forward?
I believe a consensus is okay because
Okay.
we're not going to make any on the motion, on the resolution tonight.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. So we'll continue on and look forward to more information at next month's meeting. The next item on the agenda is item D, and this is pertaining to the NFWF Urban Forestry update that we received a presentation on in the work session. Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, will turn it back over to you.
Back on. Get in trouble. Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Trying to make sure that everyone can hear me. The next two items are the NIFWIF urban forestry update. We received a presentation from Neighborhood Design Center today. What they did over the last couple of months is to do a complete tree canopy audit. And what they found in the town is that we had 91 trees currently. They're recommending 18 of them be removed because of the type of species. They also are looking at asking us to prune and to prune 6 of them. And then they found that we could add 200 trees to our urban tree canopy. Talking a little bit more about our urban tree canopy, it may seem uneven between one side of town and the other. However, these are trees that are in our public right-of-way. The town does not have as much public right-of-way in Ward 1, but more in Ward 2. So their recommendations are heavily impacting Ward 2. However, we are going to work, and we have worked with residents in Ward 1 to add a tree canopy, to increase the tree canopy in Ward 1. And we've also increased the tree canopy. 45 of the new trees have been planted actually in Ward 1 over the last year because of the fact that those were on key public sites. So I didn't provide that in the first presentation, but there were significant amount of trees that were planted by Joe's movement, and some of the ones that they're asking for us to replace are also trees that are under a 2-year warranty that will be replaced through that warranty. Tomorrow, the green team and the public works staff will have a training on how to care for our tree canopy. And then again, this study is intertwines with the most recent ordinance that you passed in regards to tree care and to our Tree City USA application. So this again is part of how we apply for Tree City USA, and staff will be applying for the Tree City USA designation within the next few weeks. I'm here for any other questions.
Are there any questions for Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth? For those who are tuning in now and missed the work session, the joke and the reason for the laughter is Ward 2 is really gloating about the vast difference in trees in the rights of way specifically compared to Ward 1. But we know, as you said, it was mainly due to more state highway and other roadway considerations. The other thing to mention too is I really appreciate the green team training that's been set up for tomorrow, just to continue the process moving forward. So while this was great having the presentation tonight, having that hands-on training tomorrow will definitely be helpful. So with that, we'll continue on in the agenda, moving down now to the Bostwick House, and so happy to have the tap back finally from ULI. So Town Administrator, back to you.
Thank you again, Mayor, Council. To provide just a brief public overview on the Bostwick House project, ULI came to the town in April of 2024, and they did a 2-day session. I believe it was the 17th and 18th of April, if I'm correct, that they did the two-day assessment. They provided us with an initial presentation that we presented a couple times to council. This is the very final report. I think the one good thing is that we've implemented segments of this final report already in our interactions at Bostwick House. 1 is in our structural analysis. 2, we've also been working on it with our siting of our town hall. We will be looking at the Bostwick House site as a possible site, as well as the existing town hall site as suggested. 3, which I did not mention in the previous session, we are working at activating the site by working with Maryland Park and Planning, which I've mentioned in in some of the memos to the council. In April or May, we are going to have an event with Maryland Park and Planning at the site where we'll be able to discover the historical linkages to the Bostwick site, and also talk about how we can have a public and have an event that's open to the public, where people can actually be able to walk on the property and utilize the property, and it's going to be a really fun event. Ray is helping to plan it with Park and Planning. There'll be a stage and even music and things like that. So I think it'll be a really good like coming out party for Bostwick, and I think that's really important because part of the study was to activate the site, and then the last portion is through that activation. Myself and Joey Lample have been working on grants to try to get a portable, not a portable toilet, to get a compostable toilet on the site, which is one of the things that you kind of need in order to have parties. You got to have a toilet. So we have been waiting for something to do work with that, which it doesn't sound glamorous, but it actually is a key component that we have to settle with the site. So, and then so I think that that this has been a good roadmap for us all. So we'll continue to work through this and let everybody know. But I'm here for any other questions on the Bostwick House report and the ULI report.
So the compostable toilets was something I zoned in on when reviewing the ULI TAP. If there's a link or something you could send the council on examples of what that looked like, because in my mind I was like, that doesn't really sound
They are gorgeous,
good.
Mayor. They are gorgeous. I'm going to tell you, they are actually not. No, they're not. They're not bad looking. I actually will tell you that they are. They're not. They are attractive, and actually, they will build them to look historical. Like
Okay.
not like no, well, not historical like an outhouse, but
Right,
historical like the house to fit with the image. And we are obtaining permission to try it from MHT so that we can match the style and theme of the house, but not an old school outhouse. So let me just tell you that. So it is, but it is something that would actually, it's actually something that's being used by a lot of, it's actually used at a lot of historic sites. It's the National Park Service uses them because they're more ecologically friendly, and a lot of the state parks use them. And maintenance wise, they can be closed down very easily, and they can be secured very easily so that you don't have homeless living in them and things like that. So there are lots of ways that we can take care of that. But it will take us a little bit of time to get the grant funding, but it is something that actually is part of the ULI project.
And then as far as the ease of installation, you're not having to hook it up to the existing pipes and so forth. So that is an advantage, even though I'm worried about this compostable waste. Just saying. But Councilmember McBride, you said you got to see what they look like recently.
Yes, Madam Mayor. When we went to the NLC conference, we got a chance to speak with the residents, the representatives, and see what they actually look like. They were really nice. Yeah.
They are great. They
You're
are.
convincing me. And then Councilmember Blunt, you had a question about the house itself.
When we went there, they were saying something about the floors and, I mean, is it steady? If you have a lot of people walking, is it stable enough? No one's gonna fall through the base?
Okay.
I'm just asking. But I'm just asking because that was a big,
Yeah, no, Councilwoman, that's a really good question. So the stabilization study that we're doing now with Encore is actually looking at issues on the interior of the house and what are our repairs, what are the long-term issues that we need to do. In regards to the event that we're planning with Maryland Park and Planning on the site, it is primarily outside of the house and not inside of the house, to activate the site itself, but not the house, because we are waiting for Encore study before we do any kinds of tours of the house. And even when we're going to ask UMD to, and actually I have a call with Don Leiba this week, one of the many thousands of calls I have this week, but in regards to putting together signage and information about the house, so that we can actually kind of have some areas where people can interact with some of the things in the house outside of the house. Because I'm still a little concerned about having large numbers of people in the house until we have gotten the stabilization done. So we are working outside stabilization in, if that makes sense. So we've done windows, we're doing some of the brick and things that you've already approved, but not necessarily everything inside, but we are getting an answer on the flooring on the second floor and those kinds of things so that we can stabilize that. But what we've been told is that it's not imminent or anything hugely bad. It's just more the fact that if you're gonna have normal usage of it, you're gonna need to do some more work, if that makes sense.
when they do come of course they want to see inside the house, and we're going to be outside the house. I mean, I'm trying to make it make sense to have an event that you really can't go inside.
So you can, it's just in limited numbers. So we couldn't have 200 people in there, but we could take people to tour it in smaller groups. And that's why even up to this point, any meetings that we have over there, it's never 50 or 100 people. It's just a smaller group so that you can walk through there safely. Like she said, the floor is not going to cave in.
No.
This
That's
year,
nothing.
but it's an older building. So with that, we just want to be extra careful by not putting too much stress on the structure by putting a wedding in there for 200 people, let's say, or something like that. But 10, 15, 25 people, we're fine.
And
So you're planning to tour a few people at a time?
yes, and I think, and Councilwoman, I think the bulk of the activities, which we will provide you an outline, will be so that people can because the site is such a unique site that we don't have that kind of land anyplace else. Like, it's more of a park site, and we want to explore the outside of the property and actually talk about the house as well from the outside, because there's a lot of things about the site that really people have never been on the property. And so a lot of it will be like, if you have historical actors and dancers and things like that, they will be outside of the house, and that information will be highlighted, and there will be games and things for people to do outside.
I want to ask the question if
Oh, Councilwoman.
I'm sorry. I want to have asked the question if I knew people going to still be able to go in on the day of the event, but in a smaller amount.
Smaller amount.
Because that wasn't said. So now
Yeah,
I see
no.
a bigger picture. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
It's
a
really
good
a good question because it is something we have to be thoughtful about because we're responsible. So you're absolutely right to raise that. So it's a good point. And then just in terms of placemaking and the signage outside, is there any consideration for even signage for where the orchards are? So people, where you are on the property as you're kind of moseying throughout?
That's the goal of the event, is to kind of, to show zones of the property and to be able for people to go up on the, to go up on the hill and to go into the back portion of the property to see where the like, kind of, I don't want to call it like the pond is, to know what the different what the different buildings on the site are, and to kind of give some historical context to those buildings. So yes, that is the overall, is to introduce people to the site, to introduce the residents to the concept of Bostwick House, so it's not just this big house that nobody can get into and it's on the hill.
Just one more question. It's probably off, but the graveyard, is that attached to Boswick House, or?
No.
I was just wondering because that is a historic site.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But Evergreen Cemetery is further down the street from there. It's not attached to it. But I see where you're going. If you had an event to be able to also take residents there to show them this historic cemetery, that would be interesting. But we have time to think about it. Councilmember Dixon?
Michelle, this is for you. The field is attached to the Bostwick House, right? The one at the Bladensburg Elementary.
It is not formally attached. It is adjacent to it. There is there's no connection from the field to the Bostwick House. There is actually a copse of trees that you cannot get to there. But the front of the school, when you go way up, you can see where the little fence is. For, when you're at the front part of the school, that's where you can see that, but neither one of them are connected. Now, the issue is long-term, whether or not you want to create trail connections between the school and, open that up once you have a more developed site. But that is something that's something that's been contemplated, and that was actually part of the ULI study.
And just piggybacking on that point, because a dream I have is at one point when the site is fully preserved and restored and accessible, that you could have a garden that the children could maintain. Years ago, God rest her soul, Miss Webb Craig taught pre-K for years at Bladensburg Elementary. And outside her classroom on the side that faces Annapolis Road, every year she would have her kids build a garden or cultivate a garden there, just teaching them things, at 4 years old that most kids don't get to do in an urban community, playing in the dirt with the seed and nurturing your little, plants and things. And so I always thought it would be so nice if you could have something bigger that the kids could be responsible for. And then maybe you make the food available to those families since they're the ones working it each year. But it's just, we've got to get the site to a point where we can do anything, let alone a program like that, because it has to be safe for the students to access. But I'm sorry, council member, you had a comment.
Yes, Michelle, are these gonna be done by tour, or residents gonna have like a brochure and they can just roam?
There will be a structured event that we will be working with different groups on for the tour aspect. But what I would like to do is that this is still a plan and process. We actually are working with a couple different aspects of park and planning so that we can have some opportunities to kind of have entertainment on the site. So I think that you'll be impressed by the scope of this. But I also think that it will be what we really want to lean into working with our partners at Amen Trust and working with our partners at UMD and even Anacostia Watershed, who actually has items at the site, to start to activate that site more and to give residents a better understanding of what's going on there. I think the one thing is that we haven't been able to answer a lot of questions about what could you do, what is the site about, like who lived there, things like that. So we want to be able to address those issues. Part of what park and planning is also bringing to the table is a thing that's called Better, it's not called the Better Block Box, but that's what I remember when I was at Park and Planning. But it's a placemaking trailer that actually comes out that has activities that planners actually work with people to imagine what can you do with the space, how do you work with the space, and that's the primary goal of why I wanted placemaking to come out, is because placemaking has staff that actually looks at projects like this, comes up with recommendations, and helps to figure out ways to activate spaces, and then also working with the recreation side, working with park and planning, using your tax dollars to help Bladensburg residents. They will provide activities to residents also for that day. So it's one of those things that I just wanted to try to activate something I knew that you had access to, and that's what we're going to be working through, and we'll provide you with a better outline of what that day will look like. But they will be organized tours, and we're working with Dawn Linebaugh and Susan Kern, who's the current person who's working at UMD at the site as well.
Thank you, because I didn't want to see people just walk on all around. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Councilmember Dixon?
I don't know if I've missed the date, but I don't know if you had mentioned it. When is the date set for?
We tentatively have April 26th, but it may be moved to the first week of May. But we'd like to do it earlier before you get into your summer events, because of the way that as we rush off into the summer, we've got Juneteenth, we've got for the Independence Day, we've got we've got everything else for the summer. So, and then back to school again. So it's like we go into like a real big portion. So early May is the target for this. I think it'll kind of replace when you had International Day. So that's the timing.
Thank you so much. I still have concerns in regards to the capacity that can fit in there. I really do have concern because.
And we take that seriously. No, I think we'll be able to present that to you so that from the standpoint of the interior things, but I think the one nice thing about the site, we are getting it permitted, and we will be able to understand how many people can be on the site at one time.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm sorry, one more question.
No worries.
And will it capture what the Boswick House actually stood for, and every aspect of what that place was? I'm just asking because.
And that's a critical piece of this whole project, right, is telling the story of the enslaved people who lived there. It's been harder to get, I think, history on what it was before it was colonized, because Native Americans were there before any of us were. But at least for those who live there, to your point, council member,
Yeah.
all of that will be incorporated and is a huge piece of this. And Sam Parker, who used to be the head of MNC PPC, is on Amen Trust Board. And he is very dedicated to making sure that that does not get lost in terms of preservation, in terms of bringing the community in to tell them about that site. He's a person of color, and so this is something that's very important to him as well as other board members at Amen Trust.
Will we be able to see
Yeah.
what it's going to look like prior to?
Yeah, so what I can do, since I'm glad that we're having this discussion, what we can do is in February, we can bring you an overview with some, so that you can get an idea of what's been discussed, because actually we actually have a pretty robust idea of some of the items that can come on there. But one of the groups is called Sankofa Group, and they're with Park and Planning. But what they've done, and I think you might have seen that they went to the library last year and they did some historical pieces about right. And so that's one of the groups that we'd like to have there to kind of discuss the overall theme. And Regime, I'm going to let her bail me out of some of this a little bit, but because she's been in all these meetings with me. But the interesting part about it is that I sort of expressed to Park and Planning the need for this to be culturally relevant and not just talking about the first Secretary of the Navy house, and that we wanted to talk about the people that have been in this community, and then how it reflects to people now. I think the one cultural context is that we have 50% of our, like a good 40% of our residents are from other countries, and to have a context why this is important and why this would be important to them as an open space, and why the house is important, even from the historical, but even for the future context.
Yeah, and I know we need to move on because it's after 8 o'clock now, but just in summary, I want to say these conversations are not new. And so even sitting on the whole process a couple years ago with Neighborhood Design Center, where we had the community input, again, Mr. Parker was there and others, and that was something that was agreed that if we're continuing down this road, we have to tell the story of all people who dwelled in that house and on that site. And some of our history is not pretty, and we can't run away from it. So it needs to be told. And there's too many young people in this community who have no idea what happened there and why it's relevant. So we'll look forward to more discussion about the program and appreciate the update and the information also, as I mentioned before, on the technical assistance plan from ULI. At this time, I think this next item we can move quickly on, the legislative session update. We did get into that at length in the work session, and we had Mr. Perez with us and Mr. Brown just providing general updates about county and state legislation that's being put forth. So encourage folks to tune into the work session if they have any questions there. But at this time, there's no shift in terms of what the council's approved. We're just continuing forward with our priorities. The next item is the Pepco streetlight update. Again, I know that was provided in the work session, but if you want to give a brief recap on that, Town Administrator.
I don't know. I'm going to let Steve's glowing praise just like overwhelm me. But no, just the only issue that I wanted to just mention, because I mentioned on the other one, is that the streetlight process, the purchasing and the acquisition of new streetlights, is a complicated process that we will bring back to the council, and that we will continue to work on that because our town attorney has made some recommendations, and you will get a formal update on that. But I did try to put something together to try to give you a primer on why streetlights are interesting.
Thank you. That's a very nice way to put it. And then the one item that we added to the agenda was, again, just wanting to make sure the community was aware of the WSSC update. So Town Administrator and Chief were on a call with WSSC earlier today, and just want to give you the opportunity to provide that update.
I'm going to let Chief give the headline on this one.
Boy, he threw a rock through the glass. Good evening, Mayor, Council, community, and colleagues. The only update that I would provide is that the restriction has been as of 6:30 this afternoon, the water restriction has been lifted.
And that's for the essential use, that was, I think we put it out earlier today. Okay. All right, thank you, Chief. So that completes all the items under new business for tonight's meeting. Now I'm excited to move into staff reports because this is where we get to hear about all the amazing work that this team of experts is doing every month. So, if I could, I'm going to mess with the order a little bit. We'll start out with public safety just because it's a twofer, and we've got to get Chief his time and then get Code Enforcement Officer Reinhardt his time. So Chief, we'll kick it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Chief Collington, so I'll keep my report brief. I see Sean's already started the timer there. So I think he started early. So far in the month of December, our units responded to 1,017 total calls for service. And the reason I bring that number up is because I just want to reiterate the fact that our team works very hard every day, each and every day. So we had the promotion here today, and it is truly an honor to recognize them for the hard work that they do. On January the 9th was Law Enforcement Officer Appreciation Day, and we do definitely appreciate all the support and everything that we receive from the kind comments that we receive from the community. Just saying thank you to the officers, because we know this is a thankless job that the officers do. So whenever we get an opportunity to get a kind word from the community, it really means a lot to us. We had one of our supervisors successfully complete first line supervisor school, and that was Corporal Darrell Tompkins, who completed the mandated first line supervisor school. So kudos to him. And I will end it here, pass off the remaining my time to code enforcement.
Or no, keep going, Chief. He'll get his own 3 minutes.
All right. So on December the 5th, we were fortunate to attend Elizabeth Seton High School winter concert. It was very well put. We thank President Grillo for inviting us. On the 6th, we celebrate our annual Yule Log, which was well attended again. We thank our residents for coming out, but this was our time to show our appreciation to the community. And I'll just highlight this year our Shop with a Cop event. It grows every year. This year we were fortunate enough to take 89 students to Walmart for Shop with a Cop. So I definitely want to thank our community action team led by Ms. Licia Mumford, but also the support that she got from each of our employees, civilian and sworn, as well as our allied law enforcement departments that joined us, because we couldn't have done it on our own. And I will stop there with 17 seconds left.
So, Chief, just one question. The cost for service, that amount you gave us, was that just for the month of December?
That was just for the month of December. It was 1,017 total calls.
Is that normal around the end of the year, that amount? It seems high.
It ebbs and flows, but it's somewhere around it. We normally run anywhere from 900 to 1,000 calls anyway.
Okay.
So this year, in December, we ran 1,017 calls for service.
Okay.
On the average, on the yearly, we do somewhere around 17,000 calls for service.
Okay. Councilmember, you had a question?
Is that repeated calls, like a person calling for the same calls? Because it seems like it's...
Yes, some of them could include repeat calls,
See,
like say like
okay.
noise complaints.
Now that would make sense, because I don't see where, I mean, I'm looking at Bladensburg. They're supposed, so yeah.
So it could be accidents, it could be,
And they
when
call
we
it
do
for-
premise
okay.
checks, you know, when we go visit the different buildings and things like that, all those
For
are calls
repeated
for
calls.
service. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Now it makes sense.
Thank you for that question. It makes a lot of sense. And I'm sorry, Mr. Reinhardt was ready with the microphone. Over to code enforcement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First off, I want to start off by sending our condolences to the Montgomery County Fire Department. Saturday, they had a line of duty death. And also want to send out thoughts and prayers to the firefighters in California fighting the forest fires and the families of, what they've lost. This is the start of my report. I kind of didn't do it for the month of December. This is going to be for like the totals for last year. Last year we had 266 abandoned vehicles in the town of Bladensburg. 28 of those were impounded. We removed 934 signs from poles and right-of-ways. And actually, this month we actually had a really strange call. We got a call for a pig that was running loose in the industrial area. A pig, P-I-G, yeah, a pig. We were actually able to contain the pig. The pig actually walked on a leash. We actually contacted animal management. They came out and removed the pig, and I'm happy to report that Mabel was the name of the pig, and she has been since adopted. So that's a good thing. Our office assisted with several community events over the past month, and the last thing I want to report on, I really want to stress on this, is now that we're in the colder seasons, if we come across like snow on the sidewalks, our town code states that 24 hours after the storm stops or the snow stops falling, you need to have your property sidewalks cleared of snow and ice. If you do see a property that is in violations that we haven't already got, please report it on the My Bladensburg app. That helps us keep track of it. It helps us get back to a report of it. And not only is this for residents, this is for business owners also. Now, we completely understand with heavy snowfall on Annapolis Road, the state road plows comes down, they put, which is normally 5-6 inches of snow, and they add another 2 or 3 feet. We will work with you to get this done, but we just want to make sure that the sidewalks are passable for our residents and our students. At this time, this completes my report.
Thank you.
Turn the clock on, but I was watching right here.
This is a tough crowd. Sure. And Mr. Reinhardt, I do appreciate you making the note about the sidewalks, because I know we spoke about it, but I think we do have to be tough on the businesses, because we have a lot of residents who walk in our community who don't have vehicles. And so while those of us may not be as impacted, because Public Works does a great job with our streets, for the folks who walk and have to pass on streets that are, or not streets, but sidewalks that are not properly cleared, it's a serious problem. And given the amount of students that we have in the community too, I mean, we have thousands of children, and many of them who have to walk to get to school.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want our pedestrians walking in the roadway also, because that just becomes a safety issue altogether.
That's a really good point. Councilmember Dixon?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was about to say what you just said. Also, I got a few complaints this morning in regards to the sidewalks at the Bladensburg Elementary School, that the kids, got a few kids that fell this morning.
And that's one of the things I was working with, because I noticed that the elementary school did not even shovel their own sidewalk, so that's an issue upon itself. So I'll be speaking with the principal up there.
So that doesn't, as far as I know, those requests go through the facilities management for the school system. So we get to do a big old complaint to the school system, is what I'm hearing, right? Because they did the parking lot, but they did not do the
sidewalks on the property itself, but not along the state highway
where their students have to walk to get up.
Where they have to walk to get there.
Got it. Okay. We should also let our school board member know too. Oh, that's right. She resigned. Well, we can email the superintendent and just make him aware, because tell me if I'm wrong. We have our weatherman over here, Chief Collington. Is there more snow expected this winter, or is it behind us? At least one more. Okay, so,
Actually, they're saying that the week after, that we have some more in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, that we could have some more
boy.
inclement more in the next 2 weeks, so. there's new stuff. Another
one
big
more
one.
big one, okay. No, you don't like the snow. All right, so that completes code enforcement. Mr. Tonelli will come back over. Oh, sorry.
The chief, I think they're calling for a wintry mix, a wintry mix this weekend. What's that? Yeah.
The week after, yeah.
All right, so we'll keep rolling along. Mr. Tonelli will come over to you for treasurer's report.
Sure. My detailed report is already in the council packet and online, and also we just went through our half-year update. Just an additional update, we are completing the audit. We had the auditors here all day Friday into the evening. I mean, all day Friday and into the evening doing testing. So we had to ask for an extension. The auditor had a family emergency last month, so that, of course, we're going to ask for an extension for that. But we hope to have that filed with the state by the end of this month and presented to the council by February. That's what we're hoping for, because it should all be completed. Friday was a final testing. So, and we are ongoing looking and talking about the budget for next year as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, and thanks again for the budget overview tonight in the work session and council meeting. For Public Works, Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth, did you have a report for Mr. Hall? If not, it's fine. We can keep moving.
Yeah, he did submit one in
Okay.
writing. He did.
Okay, perfect. And Town Administrator
I believe Town Clerk has one.
sorry, Madam Clerk.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
Just wanted to say I attended on January 8th the Carson grand opening. It's a new office here. It's the first office in Prince George County. It happens to be in Bladensburg. And what they do is they have been serving the immigrant population for over 40 years with housing assistance, legal assistance, and TPS services. So we're looking forward to working with them and getting more information for our residents. But it is a program that that helps a lot of people out, and they have other information for other people as well. So Ray and I are working on trying to set up something where we can give more information to our residents about it. But the fact that it's the first one in Prince George County, where they used to do it is always in DC or other places. So it's here in Bladensburg, so that's a good. Other than that, I just want to say that our business roundtable is next week from 12 to 2. I'm excited about it because we have a new motto this year. We are stronger together. So we're looking forward to having more participation. It's from 12 to 2 next week, Wednesday. And we have our guest speaker, Mr. Larry Hines from PGC Economic Development Department.
Excellent. Thank you so much for those updates. And now we'll come back to Town Administrator Bailey Hedgepeth.
Actually, I am going to cut mine very short. Thank you to Regine for setting up the information for the business roundtable, and the new and updated business roundtable, which I think people are going to enjoy. That is at lunch versus breakfast. We also met with NDC, which is the Neighborhood Design Center, for the town hall initial meetings. They will be planning a session with the council probably in the March-April timeline. I'm thinking probably closer to April because of the work that we're going to have to work with them on. But you will have a public session where you'll be able to look at some of the information, and we'll get some input from the council in regards to the type of facility you like to see, the kind of resources that you'd like to see in the new town hall. And I will cut it short because I did submit a written report, and you've heard from me enough tonight. Thank you guys for all of the work that you allow us to do here at the town.
All right, thank you so much for that. Next, we will proceed on with the mayor and council reports, and tonight we'll start in Ward 2, where there's more trees in the right-of-way, with Councilmember McBride. Oh, Councilmember McBride.
Good evening again, everyone. Councilmember McBride's report, very short, brief. In December, I attended and assisted with the town food giveaway for the town of Bladensburg. I attended and assisted for the first time with our Shop with a Cop. I was able to go to Walmart with the police department and help them and help the youth wrap their gifts. And I want to shout out a special thanks to, I don't know his position, Walter James, for the Sheriff's Department donation to the residents of the town of Bladensburg. And that's the end of my report.
Seems like December was so long ago, doesn't
I know.
it? Thank you for your report, Councilmember McBride. Sticking with Ward 2, we'll go over to Councilmember Blunt.
Well, Happy New Year's to everyone. I like that stronger together. Regina, I like that. I kind of like that. I would like to say thank you to the police department. I mean, Bladensburg, we do. I'm saying we do a good job here for the residents in this community and everything that we serve. The police department show up for everything. Thank you for serving the seniors. You know, thank you. I tell you, everything you all do is great here. I can't thank you all enough. Even as a town council person, you all are awesome. I mean, I hear lately of different council places, how they treat each other, but we're awesome here. We are really awesome. And that's, Mayor, I know I put you on the spot, but you did an excellent job at the senior gala.
Yes.
I mean, I was down and out. I was down and out. And when I say that you stepped up to that plate and you did that thing, you did it. I'm sorry, I used slang, Vito. You really did, and that made me feel good because I was down how you all stepped up to the plate and Miss Dixon, how I threw you in there as a host, but you did a good job. I can't thank you all enough, and I know the residents. I wish a lot of more residents and community would come to these meetings. As Susan McCutcheon says a lot, you need to get involved.
Yes.
Not only when we're giving, but we need your support. We really need the community support in the things that we do. We really need to hear from you all. And I can go on and on, but my voice won't allow me to. And again, Regine, how you just stepped in, you and Ray. And thank you, Vito, for the little fruit thing you gave me. I can't say fruit, but the little fruit thing. I seen that, and I promise you, I said, I'm not taking that. Where'd that come from? I would not take it. The guy said, when he said your name, I said, oh, Vito. Yeah, I'm sorry. So again, I was like, I'm not taking that. But anyway, again, thank you all so much for the support that you give to the community, as well as the seniors, and as well as myself when I was down and out and didn't know I was down and out. You all stepped up, and I thank you. And yes, Walter James, it was amazing seeing him again. He actually made the police officers, not made, but come in and actually be with the residents.
Yes.
They didn't just drop it off.
No, not this time. I mean, one box was missing. He said, we got to get a box back. I'm like, no, we good. And Collins, your team, when you wasn't there, was great. They came up, the residents, they did their thing. But y'all was great. Thank you all so much. And
yes.
That's all I pretty much have to say.
It was cheap. Yeah.
Thank you. And I didn't use AI.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, too funny. Thank you, Councilmember Blunt, for your report. Now we'll switch over to Ward 1 to Madam Councilmember Brown.
Well, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would just like to say Happy New Year to everybody. You know, I'm looking forward to an exciting and 2025 year. 2024 was pretty exciting as well. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, because I just want to, thank the council as well, because, for the most part, I don't know, we do have a good mayor and council, and there are been a lot of accomplishments this year. And also, with our, Mrs. Bailey Hedgepeth, our town administrator, spearheading a lot of things too, and getting things in order, and having a regime come on board as well. So it's all coming together with our public works, police department. But I do want to also thank the town for the edible fruit, because the same thing. I was like, he said he had edible fruit, and I was like, I don't know who that's from. I'm not expecting any fruit, and so that was really appreciative and considerate, of the town to do that. Attended a host of activities that happened in December. Food giveaways. We'll also just like to thank our supporters, and I'd like to thank the residents who come out as well, because we do appreciate that and do want more residents to come out and to get more involved. The shop with the cop, of course, that thing was, they had jurisdictions just from all over, from DC, from Special Armed Forces. That thing was awesome. Yes, the marshals, U.S. Marshals, let's have that. Other municipalities, they showed up in force, and they were looking real good too. Yes, and the children. Oh, and the children. They really appreciate that. So I do want to, once again, say thanks to Public Works, because on Newton Street, on that side, that road actually is state highway road. The state highway is supposed to come through. So they always do remember to come over there on that side of the road, just like state highway. So they do come and take care of us on that, because there have been times where people have been slipping and sliding, and I was like, hey, can y'all come over? But they are definitely on it. Just remember that we have an election that's coming up in March, so be mindful with this election that's coming up for county executive. Put it on your calendar. Look out for what's coming in the mail. And also, the Maryland General Assembly, as Mrs. McCutcheon had talked earlier, they're in session. So, pay attention to the bills and things that are going on there as well. Your input does matter, so get involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Brown, for that report. And now we will move over to Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, residents. I'm going to make it real short. I attended the Prince George's County House Delegation 2025 public hearing, myself and Mayor James. The COG meeting, Bladensburg Synagogue, which was amazing. Kudos to Councilmember Blunt. You did an amazing job. I attended the PG Fire Department meeting, myself and Mayor James, Mayor James, as we know what's going on with the PG county, the fire department, staff changes, and a whole bunch of issues going on. CBPC meeting, the Bladensburg meal distribution, which was amazing. Some residents never came. We had to go through the community and distribute them ourselves, which was amazing. I attended the Elizabeth Seton High School event as well. Mayor James and myself, Councilmember McBride. Shop with the Cops. That was amazing. It was just so awesome to see the kids, enjoying every little bit of their toys. And I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Wishing you all the best for the new year. Good health, wealth, and prosperity. And God bless you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Dixon, for that report. And All right, I see the clock has started. Okay, I will go fast. So December was a crazy busy month. I want to thank Councilmember Blunt for emceeing the ribbon cutting for the community cupboard. I understand you did an amazing job, so congratulations on that. And also for the senior gala. I know you don't like getting accolades, but it is important that you get your flowers while you're here. And what you do by lifting the spirits of our seniors around the holidays, you cannot put a price tag on that. Crowning the king and queen of the gala has got to be the cutest thing that we do all year. And to see the pride in the seniors' faces when we put the crown on them and pin them is just incredible. So these are the things that make Bladensburg feel like family when we come together to celebrate what is so unique about our community. Also, December 5th, the town administrator, town treasurer, and I attended the MML State of the Municipality. And this year, they commissioned a study by Sage Policy Group to really study the fiscal contributions of Maryland's municipalities. And I was taking notes like crazy because a lot of times we're undervalued as municipalities and made to feel less than the county or state. But think about this. In the state of Maryland in 2023, Maryland municipalities generated an estimated $5.7 billion in state level tax revenues. So the breakdown of that is $3.2 billion in income taxes, again, from the municipalities, $3.2 billion. $2.3 billion in sales tax revenues, $207 million in property tax revenues, which we talked about as we were reviewing the budget with Town Treasurer Tonelli. But when you look at the landscape of Maryland, municipalities are only 5% of the state. So those numbers that I just gave you first for 5% of the state. So as the towns are trying to grow through economic development and annexation, surely those numbers paint a picture as to why it's important for communities to grow. 5%, $5.7 billion. The report was sent to, I believe, all MML members. So if you don't see it, let me know and I can forward it to you because it really is interesting to read, especially as we go into budget planning season. For the town, which obviously started tonight. A few other highlights were that during the session, I was able to be on a panel with Senator Corey McCray, who legislates in Baltimore, Mayor Benton from North Beach, and Mayor O'Connor, who moderated from Frederick, Maryland. And one of the things that Senator Corey McCray is putting forth is a bill trying to get this through again this year on the local amusements taxes, to allow small communities like ours, I'll go quick, Sean, but small communities like ours who host large events to be able to charge anywhere between 1% to 3% additional sales tax or amusement tax, if you will. So if people are coming into town and they're having a meal at a local restaurant, before they come to the fireworks, we can say whether we want to charge 1% to 3% to these retail establishments to help offset wear and tear on our local roads. The fact that we have to have all hands on deck from Chief and his staff and uniformed officers and plainclothes officers just to keep everyone safe at these events. It could help offset public works overtime, administrative staff salaries, because when we do these events, we're there before the residents arrive and long after they're gone. We're still there cleaning up and making sure we put everything back the way that it was, particularly if it's not our site as we have at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park, which is county owned. So we'll monitor that and keep everyone up to date, especially as they call for letters of support or testimony. But that completes my report, and if it's not on the site, it will be shortly. So with that, that concludes all the council reports. Councilmember Dixon, you had a question?
Michelle, or Mayor, the quarterly meeting will be here, right? Can you announce that?
Oh, you mean as far as the Business Roundtable quarterly meeting will be here on the 22nd at lunchtime? Is that what you're asking about? Oh, the Port Towns meeting on the 27th, which is a Monday, from here at the Town Hall from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we will be hosting the other Port Towns here for the annual Port Towns meeting. I mean, the quarterly Port Towns meeting, excuse me.
so with that, we're at the end of tonight's agenda, and so as we get ready to adjourn, please keep everyone who's dealing with directly the impacts of the wildlife fires in the LA area in your thoughts and prayers, or the family members who may not be there but are worried about their loved ones and friends in that area. Don't take that for granted, the fact that we can go to bed and wake up not having to deal with those types of emergencies. So with that, I will now call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Dixon. Any comments or questions before we adjourn?
Mayor,
Councilmember Brown?
I just wanted to see them eyes.
She loves to keep us here all night, y'all. I tell you.
That was good night.
With that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Good night. And again, Happy New Year.
Good night.